White came out and he clarified comments that he made. He's talking about the rematch. He's talking about, are we going to do Adesanya versus Sean Strickland? Or are we going to do a rematch? Now, I will tell you, I appreciated the clarification because I guess I would go in the category that had it wrong. I thought the answer was yes. I thought at the post-fight press conference, the answer was yes. And Dana said, look, I said those words, but you're missing the context. Do I want to see a rematch? Yeah. I'd like to see it now. Do I know that we're going to do a rematch, or moreover that we're going to do it immediate? No, there was no commitment there. I haven't even talked to these guys. And Dana just clarified that a little bit because let's say, right, it's just fun for us. If Dana gave us the exact answer, I must tell you from my perspective, I don't have as much fun. I like to speculate. I like to guess. I like to make the argument, and here's where it's going to go, and here's why. And then somebody else comes back and goes, well, a little stronger case is actually over to the right here. You're looking in the wrong direction. For me, that is more fun. And we had something, us, right here, as a group that we did a week ago, and it had to do with who Sugar Sean's going to fight next. But instead of saying, right, do you guys remember this game? Instead of us saying who we thought he was going to fight, we identified 4 characters, and we said eliminate one of them. Tomorrow we'll come back, and we'll eliminate another one. The day after, we'll eliminate one, till only one is left standing. But we're going to eliminate people as opposed to suggesting people. And we had fun. It turned social. We made some pieces, a lot of comment sections. But if we were to play that same game at 185 pounds, I feel as though the first person we would remove from the board is Duplessis. And I would like to clarify, in case you're new to the channel, welcome, hope you stay a while. We're not against Duplessis over here. We're attempting to predict based on behaviors done, in this case by Duplessis, as to whether he can get rewarded or not. I don't think so. I think Duplessis for #1 contender sounds right. I think Duplessis next for a title shot sounds right. I think Duplessis is a total stud and can represent a demographic that is sought after. Like, all of these things sound right. But to give Duplessis an opportunity to fight and win something from the guy who fought and won that very thing over the guy that Duplessis didn't want to match up with, that doesn't sound right to me. Just knowing the sport as it is. Imagine Duplessis and Sean fought. Would you want to see that? Yeah, sure you would. Could Sean beat him? Yeah, sure he could. Could Duplessis beat Sean? Yeah, you bet. Well, now let's say that they fight and Duplessis does beat him. Duplessis is now the champion of a division that had a guy that he didn't want to fight. And I just think that that's a really hard spot. I think it's a tough one. To book a rematch is tough. You could do it. You'd have to sit everybody down and you have to get really clear. Look, when I announce this, we're not going to press conferences and all of a sudden we got a hurt foot, right? We've thought this through. This is clear. Major pressure, hard match, world title, all the stakes, bunch of money, marquee, lights are bright. We all understand this, right? So just to book Adesanya versus Duplessis, there would be pause. They would do it, but there would be pause. What's going to be different this time as opposed to last time? And you might get a great answer. You might get a really great answer. Hey, it's too big of a moment. I had too much going through. I was an undercard a few months ago. I talked and fought and showed myself into this position. When I got there, whoa, I'm ready now. I've accepted it. I can do it. Great. We're good. Happens to people all the time. That might be the answer. I just don't think there's a situation. And I'm not talking about where somebody gets hurt or somebody's last minute or it's a backup fight and we had to pull it in. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's just a good straight shot. A good straight, everything goes as planned. I don't think there's a scenario where a gentleman is going to be given an opportunity to win the prize over a guy floating around the division who he was once afraid to take the prize from. I think it's a tough spot. And I think that Duplessis matters for sure. But I can't help when I think of Duplessis. Not only do I think of Adesanya, that call out, not only do I think of the beautiful performance he had about Robert Whittaker, but I do think of Duplessis all the way back to the year was 2022 and the date was December 10th, when Duplessis, a successful middleweight on his way up, was placed on an undercard to a debuting young man from the Contender Series named Bo Nickel. And this was Duplessis' argument, not mine. Duplessis went out publicly, and Duplessis argued, we're the same weight class. I've done more than him. I'm ranked and he's not. I've been in the octagon before, and he hasn't. This is a massive slap in the face. He brought it to everybody's attention. I went to Du Plessis' Twitter handle to see if this message was getting out. He had 662 followers at the time. How's that for a memory? But the point was, when this is his only platform and this is his only message, it was really hard to get it out, but it did get out. And when that card got shook up, right? When USADA came in and Prohaska and whatever happened there that is likely to never be revealed to us, the very first guy they looked to elevate up is the guy who had spoken up and said he wanted to be lifted, and it was Du Plessis. But right there, in that snapshot in time, Du Plessis and Bo Nickel are now tied together. And I bring this to your attention because I don't think Bo can get a title shot. Now, that's very different than me saying I don't think Bo can get a match with Adesanya. I don't think Bo can get a match with Sean Strickland. It's a very different statement. I don't know that it would matter who holds the crown. Bo, as a young, fresher face with less experience and not a ranking, isn't going to be given the opportunity of a title fight. But I do think that Bo could get on the docket with any one of those guys. I do think that he could make a case. The case for Bo versus Du Plessis, I mean, first blood's already been struck, and it was struck by Du Plessis. Du Plessis came directly after him. You should not have that opportunity. I should have that opportunity. And Du Plessis even went as far as to say, if anybody questions that, then just put us together. I don't care about him or care about anything else. I care, and my gripe right now today is with the placement on the card. I want that placement, and whoever I have to dance with to get it, I will. It was powerful by Du Plessis. And it turned out Du Plessis was right. It turned out he could beat those guys, and it turned out that he did have that opportunity. But if there's ever going to be a fast track where somebody's going to cling to somebody else and take everything that they've got, it did not make a whole, and you might scratch your head and go, how do we do that with the rankings? Well, how in the hell do you ever put Du Plessis in there with Bobby Knuckles in the first place? I mean, if that's what we're going to go off of, some guy in some room somewhere that puts out a list at 9 a.m. every Tuesday morning and has yet to identify himself or his peers, if they even exist. There's evidence that it is done by AI, not for nothing, but the college BCS poll used to be done something similar like that, where there was a computer program. I'm just sharing for you, if you're going to do those types of things, you're not going to get Bo into a title shot. If you're going to look at the next best thing, if you're going to look at somebody that he could go through, I think Du Plessis' name is out there. I don't think there's a situation where Du Plessis is going to get a fight for the belt sidestepping Izzy. That's me, I'm guessing. And Izzy versus Du Plessis works all day long. Right now, Bo Nickel versus either one of those guys, it works all day long. The story changes as soon as you bring the belt into play. But when Dana clarifies that I did not say there was going to be a rematch, I mean, not for nothing, if there is going to be a rematch, they've only got X amount of time to start it. Because the talk of this pay-per-view, the talk of last week, is going to become old news real quick, and we're going to move on to Fight Island. And as soon as we move on to Fight Island, I'm giving you the prediction now. It's going to be set ahead of time. The winner of Chimaev and Paulo Costa is the number one contender. That's going to happen. Now, that person can sit and wait until Izzy and Strickland get done with business. They could, but that's going to be a worst-case scenario. In a scenario that Adesanya is not signed yet, that will then just become Strickland's next opponent, and everybody's going to get left out in the cold. So you tell me, by process of elimination, and now being armed with the fact that Dana says, I didn't say there's going to be an immediate rematch. I mean, clarifying that you didn't say there's going to be an immediate rematch, I feel like is opening a door. I feel like there's another message there. It's true that we could be reading too deep into this. But if you do go out on Fight Island, you establish your number one contender, but you're going to wait till Strickland and Izzy are done, it makes it pretty clear that if Izzy beats Strickland, we're not going to give the trilogy and we're not going to give Sean the rematch. If you're armed with the fact ahead of time that I'm not going to get the same respect that this guy's going to get, why am I signing the contract in the first place? And that is where the fun lies, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it starts to be a very good time, but that's also where the players within the division are going to have to stand back, not be sandhaggins. They're going to have to realize their own career and their own spot. I mean, there wasn't one middleweight with the sense that God gave Geese to hedge his bet 1 week ago on Sean Strickland. Had that middleweight done that, had one middleweight foreseen that Sean Strickland could win, that is who would be fighting Sean. But not any of them did that. So now they're in a very different situation, and they have the decision makers saying that title fight and rematch is not done yet, but they haven't spoken up. And you have to wonder why.